What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Joy of Animating. I am your host and friend, Skip Marazzi, here for another behind the scenes podcast for Cox in Space. If you're interested in what we're doing on this project, you can go to coxinspace.com. That's COX in space.com and check out what we got going on up there. We have the first clip of the show that we have put together for you, and there you can also find merchandise. You can find the previous shows that we've done, and you can find our Discord link if you would like to come hang out with us on the show and talk about anything that you're interested in talking about. So I am I'm your host, friend Skip Marazzi, and here we are working on the final shot. Actually, one of the final shots for Cox in Space for the sequence here. Um, it's this big song. It's the final song. The final song. It's the song. It's the big song in the episode. Um, that we have the Cox in Space theme song, which we worked on. I don't know, a few weeks ago, for a while. I think that was the beginning of June, in the May, beginning of June that came together, and this is the final song for this clip of the episode. If you're interested in what I'm listening to, you can always check this out here. It's Biomusic Vibrations, and we're listening to the Hawthorne Bloom, yeah, which is good. That generative music, it's nice. It's you know, peace to my soul. So, I'm feeling pretty good today. Thank you for asking. I kind of started out kind of lousy. It was just such a tiring weekend, being the 4th of July weekend, and it just being very busy. And so I started out I was like, oh geez, more of this. And then as the day progressed, and I remembered to continue to meditate, like I was sharing with you yesterday, just thinking about the blue and white sky and just the beauty of the clouds. And I was able to pull that back together, and it wasn't it was just really just losing the sense of what is it, ego altogether. I think it's sort of the I-ness, right? The I am a thing and I deserve blah blah blah, that makes us sad. And that's definitely true. I mean, that's where the hurt and the rejection comes from, is from that. And so taking your mind off those things to things that are spectacular, I think is what the ticket and the trick really is there. And it did help. Like, the more I was just like, oh no, wait, hold up. You remember it was helping yesterday, and so since it was helping yesterday, let's try it again today. And just focusing on the blue and white sky, it kind of helped. It was nice. I obviously didn't feel great being there, but one thing that happened that really, I was like, okay, all right, this isn't as so bad as I thought, but like, I was tired, so I wasn't feeling it. But what happened was, two of my coworkers checked in with me, and not necessary. Obviously, it wasn't. I wasn't trying to get their attention or anything like that. Like, I was just trying to show up and just do my job, without interfering. It's my responsibility to deal with my feelings about it. They just checked in with me. They're like, "Hey, you doing okay?" Right? And so it did give me the clue, that I wasn't presenting, as fully as I wanted to. Like, I was obviously under strain, that I was showing that I didn't intend to show. So there was that. But then also it was just a caring. They didn't do anything beyond that. They like, they asked if I was okay, and I said that I was okay. But it was so nice. It was just so nice to see that they were like, they included me as part of their reality. Um, and I think that part of the blues, that I've been experiencing is just like not feeling like a sense of place, or part of a community. Nobody's fault. Definitely my own, in doing that. Because you don't know. You don't know because you don't know my situation or my story. But like I've spent the last, specifically the last like decade, with a wanderlust, from about 2012, until now, with a bunch of wanderlust, and the 14 years. I was like, a decade. Oh no, a decade and a half, 15 years. Actually, some people's childhood. If you're tuning in as a young person, I've spent all of your life, wandering about. So much so that you might be, if you're a person who's getting ready to get your driver's license or whatever, I spent your entire life, with this, a type of wanderlust, and it was really, because I've been trying to find my place in the world, and I felt like what I was doing was not that. I at that time I was in Chicago, and it was kind of, I learned everything that I wanted to learn in Chicago, but it wasn't adding up to anything because it still wasn't answering the question that I was trying to answer, right? There was options. In fact, my dad had said to me at one point, when people from Second City, the SNL, they want to hire you, take it, right? Um, and I kind of laughed at him because I was like, dude, I don't even want to do that. Like I avoided going to, the routes, that would take people there, and I avoided socializing with people who were doing that, because I didn't want that. I saw people who, no shade on people who do want that. That's absolutely, please, your vision of the future for yourself and the things that you want are absolutely legit. You know what I mean? Please go pursue your dreams and do that. So it wasn't for me. I saw people who were doing that, and obtaining that, and they weren't succeeding. They weren't happy in the way that I was looking to be happy, right? Which is weird because I was studying improvised comedy, and that's what you would think that most people would be doing in Chicago. In fact, most people were doing that in Chicago. They were trying to get on SNL. They were trying to get on TV, and I wanted to be an actor, I thought. And so, I would thought that as I was pursuing that would be the route that I'd be going. But the more that I ran into that, and the more that I ran into those people, the less I was like, that's not really what I'm looking for. That's not going to fulfill me as a person, right? Which is cool. I'm glad that I realized that instead of getting there and then realizing that it wasn't fulfilling. It would feel like a lot of wasted years and whatnot. You might ask yourself what's different than now, and I have to be like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what's different than now. Seeing as I'm still here being like, what am I supposed to be doing now, right? But it wasn't the grabbing that, as a friend of mine called it, grabbing the brass ring, the comedy brass ring, in the old style of, when you're on the merry-go-round. I think it was like if you grabbed the brass ring, a merry-go-round like a carousel with the horses that you would ride, that somebody, you could reach out and grab the brass ring, and if you did, you got like a certain prize. And so people, as they would go around. I don't remember the full account, but that's kind of like the idea of it. Is like there's a prize, and so my friend had pointed out, like like the idea that you should just be enjoying the ride, right? And that's gonna get you to the place, that you want to go more than anything else. Tyler Patochka, wherever you are, man, he had a huge influence on my life as far as like, thinking about how to become the person you want to become, pursuing your own visions and dreams. And I've fallen out of touch with him, as I have with so many of my friends. from that time and that place and just life in general. But yeah, he was definitely a big influence on me as a person, as far as like um, getting into the creative philosophies that I was into, and thinking about life more objectively, and less, more to the, being who we are, and less of being what the world is seeming to demand, what most people seem to demand we should be. Um, and so for that, I'm forever grateful for knowing him. Um, he was one of my first friends actually in Chicago. We ran into each other in an annoyance class when it was still at the church. So back in the day, in the early 2000s, before they had their own theater. That was, yeah, that and that was one of those things for me that, like, like if even if I obtain the thing, I won't be doing the thing that I want to. And I can see now, especially, the way that comedy is, the way that art, like, acting in movies and comedic movies have changed over the years. Um, and what they've kind of become, in my opinion. It wouldn't have been satisfying. So, I feel like I was right in making that decision, um, and not going that route. But yeah, then I was in this place of, like, being in Chicago and having discovered and learned all the things that I learned, and then not knowing exactly what to do next, because it really is, quite a snafu if you're not going to be become a professional improviser, which, you can't really. I mean, some people can. But most people become teachers. No, again, no shade on teachers, because definitely the craft has exploded across the country, and I think that that's a wonderful, wonderful thing that we have teachers all over the country who have spread improv far and wide, and it's becoming a very, very common thing. I think that that's fantastic. But again, that wasn't the life that I was looking for. I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I drifted. I drifted um, from Chicago to San Francisco, because I wanted to end up on the West Coast, but I didn't want to necessarily end up in LA. I made some great friends there, had some fantastic experiences. That's where um, the concept of the shape that's inside a story calculator exists. The triangle inside the square, inside a circle. That's where that I first got to see that as a vision of what it looked like, and was kind of explained, although it was very. I spent a lot more time after that really trying to understand the mystery of what I had seen in San Francisco, and then ended up through a series of events in LA, and studied story theory, continued to study story theory, and created a bunch of models, and wrote a bunch, and thought a bunch, uh, and really began to, like, flesh out, like, what that theory, what story calculator theory, what it really meant, and how to do it properly. And yeah, so that, of course, that went in many different ways, in many different directions. I continued to work it and explore it. Um, but yeah, LA was ultimately unsatisfying, because the same thing as previously. Um, that, it was just a lot of commercial art, without understanding the reason why we were doing the things that we were doing, with the exception of, the reason is to make money, right? And as I've talked a bunch of times, and I talked yesterday too. The making money with art is essential, if you're going to keep doing the art. So 100%, no big deal there. But just making money was where it became very dissatisfying as a concept. And not making quality art in order to make money was kind of the big thing for me. Um, you know, So there's, there was a lot of commercial opportunity to do that, and commercials literally as in doing commercials. There is all that opportunity there for people who are doing that. And again, no shade on people who that's the thing that they feel fulfills them. And I'm glad that that is, I'm glad that that is a thing that if that's you and you're like, this is fulfilling to me, yeah, please, by all means, you're the person who belongs there. It was not fulfilling to me, so I was not the person that belongs there. If that makes sense, because it's different for everybody, right? Everybody has their own. What am I? Okay. Everybody has their own path to walk, things that resonate with who you are as a person, and not all things. Wow, I'm quoting a dude that I don't even like, like just so when I say this, but not all things are for all people. He was right in that. He would always say that to be a jerk, because he was flexing on his privilege when he would say shit like that. That's why that's why I laugh. But I mean, he was correct that not everybody is supposed to be doing all the things. It's more important that you do you, than anything else. Which is interesting, actually. So one of the things with Cox in Space, the main mantra of Cox in Space, is that self-care is the only way to spread happiness through the universe, right? And I think a lot of people take that and can take that in a lot of different ways, and I think that you should take that in a lot of different ways. But last night, as I was getting ready for bed, as we all do, in the modern age, I was scrolling through my phone and looking at different parts of the internet, and all the things that entails, just looking at different parts of the internet. But I came across a quote that was like, self-care, means different things to different people, and that's why it's so important, actually, and that's like the whole feature of it, right? In that it's not a bug, it's a feature. That self-care means this specifically, and this is what we're saying when we say that on the show, because I was like, it resonated with me, and I was like, yeah, 100%. That's the message right there. That's what we're saying. Self-care is the expression of yourself, and doing the things that satisfies you as a person, and that's why it's so different for everybody, because what it asks you to do is to understand yourself authentically, and then do that and continue to do that, so that you become the type of person that you want to be. And obviously there's boundaries to that, right? Because that you need to take the couple precautions that you're considerate of other people, and that you're not just selfishly pursuing your own thing in spite of everybody else. You have to include people in that. You're doing it with kindness to yourself, and to other people, and then also that you're doing something that also it is involved within the community, right? Because that's where that joy comes from. Like, self-care isn't just, I need to take a bubble bath for myself, but which it can be part of that, but also with the consideration that you're not excluding other people, that you don't do that, and just that, right? That, like, you have this, like, you're contributing to the world, and then also you're getting a feedback from that. But I think her thigh is way too big. I think I made her thigh way too big, but this leg is freaking huge, Jack. So, but it's the base understanding, because this is what happens is, if you're doing it authentically, right? If you're trying to be the most you that you can be, and again, not in spite of other people, but along with other people, is you find people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, right? You find out how to support yourself and other people in the same pursuit with the same goal. And and that's it's different for everybody, and that's the thing with, like, self-care is the only way to spread happiness across the universe, because self-care is recognizing that you're a valuable being here on this planet, and so is everybody else. And so the more authentic that you are with yourself, the more that you can allow other people to be who they are, and support them in who they are, also. I think it's like, as we begin to chase these ideas that we think that everybody is doing and everybody has to have, it's where it begins to feel like there's not enough for everybody, right? Um, if I have to have the best and fastest new car in this next year, then I have to get there before anybody else does, and that's like a real, like, consumerist, like, point of view. But like, if I'm just striving to care for myself and recognize that, like, I'm going to make sure that I take care of myself mentally, like I've been talking in the last couple of days, in order so that I can help my team at work better. Then I'm going to do that. Self-care for me is making sure that I keep my mind in a place that it doesn't stray all over the place and begin doing destruction to myself, so that I can help other people. It means that, when I get off work today, like I did today, I did yoga, and I was like, okay, I took a nap and then I did yoga, and so that's really important. So I could come and I could share with you, so I could continue to do this work for the guys, right? Um, Man, that leg is so fat. I think it's because this bit's got to come up this way. Also, I think he drew a really fat leg, and he kind of hid the fatness behind that. Let's see if we can. Well, maybe part of it's a dress. Okay. Uh, okay. Let's see what I can do with this. I don't know if I'm gonna use this one. I think I was talking yesterday that I'm not positive that I'm gonna actually use this one. Um, but yeah. Let's see if I can't just do a little, like. Guys, if you're wondering what my tools are, it's a mouse. I'm using a mouse. So that's why it kind of looks janky. Um, Something like that, maybe? No. I think I might clone a piece. It's not a good piece to clone. But that's a big challenge, because it's easier to to go the path that everybody else has gone, but also it's not possible, is what it turns out. The thing um, about trying to achieve, and this is when my dad's like, hey, when the people from SNL, they call, you need to take that call, is that, having real experience there versus the idea of the experience. Like my dad was coming from, he was thinking about the world as it existed in 1980, late 1980s, the early 90s, where that was happening. And I was there in the early 2000s, a decade or so later, and I saw that there was a lot of people who were jockeying for that same position, and there just wasn't enough positions for everybody to go to SNL. There was a time in Chicago where there was a lot of people who, and two thoughts actually. There was a lot of time in Chicago, and I have friends who were there at that time, and they say, hey, they were snapping up everybody for sitcoms, for SNL, for anything. They were trying to get improvisers into the writing rooms of, like, news segments, and like that sort of thing. And so it was like, it was booming, right? It was booming to be in Chicago at that time, and to pick up roles like that. But that had tapered off a lot. There was a lot of improvisers there, and there was a lot of opportunity, but there was too many people for the amount of opportunity. Opportunities are the word. So what it meant was that it was creating this really, like, competitive is correct, but it was like, it not conducive to creativity type of competitive. It was definitely turning into an all commercial venture all the time. And then also one of the things that was happening was that some of the best improvisers that I knew, they weren't getting picked up and they hadn't gotten picked up. And so it was more of like a popularity contest than anything else, which is fine. And no shade on the people who went and did that and were able to do that. Being popular is a skill, which I don't have. So, um, you know, I'm aware of that I'm never going to be the most popular person on the planet. That's just not a skill that I have that I'm able to, I might be able to show off my skills and that might bring popularity to me, but you put me in a room, I'm not going to be everyone's first choice of who they want to talk to for sure, and I'm sure that would be the case once Cox in Space is a well-known show as well. I'm sure that they'll want to talk to any number of people before they talk to me, because I'm weird and it's hard to hold conversations. It's hard for me to hold conversations with people, and I feel like vice versa probably, right? I have always been an acquired taste, because it takes quite a bit to understand what I'm even talking about a lot of times. And that's people who know me and like me will tell me that. And that's not from a lack of trying either, because I do try to communicate clearly with people, and for some reason that only makes things worse. So I laugh at my own folly. That's one of the things that it's just part of my character. Anyway, so I knew that in a popularity contest, that I wasn't going to be winning any popularity contests. That there were a lot of people who were very talented and more connected. I mean, for instance, I was taking classes at the same time that Rob Belushi was taking classes, and Rob, of course, went on to do SNL. Rob and his friends, the people who were associated with Rob, went on to go do SNL. And right under you like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like I was like maybe a year or two. I saw Jordan Klepper perform quite a bit, um, and he's now memed the fuck out of, because I think he's on the Daily Show, or something like that. And Jenna Friedman and Michael Palisak. Those are some contemporaries of mine. Hannibal Buress I was a contemporary with him in Chicago as well. And these are people who, just when you interact with them, they are recognizably more popular, right? And so for me, and then also the things that they wanted to do were in that vein. Like they were in the more popular mindsets of the things that they wanted to do. The more they were more common. But I hadn't gone to Chicago to do that, right? I had gone to Chicago because I was very fascinated with Dell's concept of the Herald, and I wanted to learn how to do that more. And I wanted to explore the human psyche and what the source of creativity was. Those were the things that were really important to me. So, doing the thing of going, and this is why it was unsatisfying. Oh, I see. This thing connects like this. So doing the thing of going to SNL afterwards and doing films and stuff like that, or whatever the next step is, that didn't get me closer to my goal. That didn't, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. Like if you had asked me in 2011 what my goal was, I couldn't have told you. I couldn't have told you like what specifically was unsatisfying to me, or like why it was that I had shied away from the popular groups and popular crowds, and what it was that they were doing that I was not interested in. Right? I couldn't have told you that. But from here and from where I'm at now, I can definitely tell you like that's the thing to me that I was like, hey, I want this more than anything else. Is that I wanted to truly understand what Dell was talking about when he was dealing with the Herald, and how human creativity could be harnessed, right? And what was the secrets to doing that. And it took me a long time to really like nail that down. And then once it finally did, it was actually through Mike Lebowski. Oh, sorry, Mike Lebowski. Mike Leibowitz, from Comics You Should Know, who he had pointed out that a good, whether it's a good joke or it's a good like improv set, it has to have like a story circle to it. And he turned me on to Robert McKee's story, and for that I'm always grateful to him for that. Uh, because he really he put me on the path of something that was very satisfying, and was along the lines of what I was looking for, and I couldn't quite put my finger on what that was. And that happened in late 2011, I think, something like that. Anyway, right before we wrote Cox in Space, and I made the first attempt at that time to use those tools, um, which for good or for evil at that time, it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, they were rudimentary at that time because I had a very narrow, and not complete understanding. And today, even if you think that I'm saying that I have a complete understanding of story circles and story theory at this point, that's not true. Please don't hear me say that. I have a longer and deeper understanding of it. But much like yoga, you can understand the forms and the different postures that you take and whatnot, and then there's always like a deeper understanding that you can have of it. And so I would say that about it is that I have a deeper understanding than I did at that time, and continue to develop it and grow that concept and understanding as time continues on. I will say that is true. That is true about that. Um, but yeah, so that's what created sort of this wanderlust, is because I was like so uncomfortable in the places that I was. It wasn't the right shape for me. I kept trying these different positions and different postures, even getting married at one point, and thinking that like maybe this is the thing that I'm supposed to be. Maybe this is the shape that I'm supposed to be in. And then these things, ooh, that does not look right at all. Let's scoot that over just a bit. Jack's a really good artist, and I am not. I am not a very good artist. Let me see if I can steal this here. And so again, I mean, that's where I'm here now. I'm still in this place, um, where I'm not quite sure where I fit. I have an understanding of what it is that I want, and not sure where that fits. Um, and the interesting thing about self-care, right? And this is the thing I'll tell you about, anything. Like, you're going to try a bunch of different stuff. It's very few people who understand what it is, who they are, right? And I think most people come to it more incidentally than intentionally. Like after they have a kid, they go, "Oh, I was supposed to be a parent. Like this makes sense to me. Like this is the thing." Like I think of my brother, for instance. He wasn't he was just pursuing a career, and it wasn't like he was in the army, and like he did the job, and that's all he really wanted. But what really makes him happy is being a dad. And he's had a couple of kids now that are grown, and then he has he has a very young daughter, and that you can see like really fulfills him and brings him joy, that he gets to just hang out with her all the time. And that's like his whole world. And so I don't think he planned that was the case, that was what his life was going to be, that was going to be fulfilling for his life. But once he found it, he really took to it, and it really like helped him understand who he was and what he was doing with himself and his life. And so I think a lot of people, and so like it's very incidental to come across it for most people. As you try things, as you are part of communities, as you involve yourself in the world, is where you find these things, that give you that fulfillment that you're looking for. And then that's where you could be like, this is the thing I am. And then just let me tell you, right? Like even if you have found it, and this is the truth for me, is like I found the thing that like really is satisfying to me, like making stories and characters for people for their entertainment, for my entertainment first, before people's entertainment. It really is fulfilling to me. Like doing this little like tedious line work to me, because this is our character Luna, and she sings a song that it's like, I mean, this is, I don't want to be doing anything else. I have no desire to be doing anything else, um, and that's why other things and other tasks are such a drag to me, because I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can carry food to a table, or I can be a bike mechanic like I have been, or I could, there's so many jobs that I've had that I've just been like, yeah, this is fine. I'm gonna pass, but it's fine, um, because making characters and like making entertainment to me is the thing that is the most satisfying, for good or for ill, and I desire to do it in the best way possible, not just to make a film to make money, but to make something that really resonates with people and continues to last through time, um, because it denotes the human experience. It shares a point of view. It gives people something to continue to think about. Um, and if there's anything that I've done with my, oh my God, that knee is so jacked up. How how do bodies work? I'm so not an artist. I wish I could finish drawing this leg. Um, so the knee must be lower, but how is the knee lower at that angle? Um, so, because it looks like it would go out like this, and then like that maybe, but then it's like hella fat, right? Let me just draw a quick line to see what it would look like. I'm gonna put this on a separate layer so it's not something I have to contend with. But yeah, so you know, and I think a lot of people, they'll struggle with that, and it's hard, especially when, like in America, for instance, the price tag is attached to whatever it is that you've decided to do, right? Um, and that is one of the reasons. I guess that'll work. Like if she's got like a little. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna do a close up on her and never show her legs. That's what I'm gonna do with that Luna. Cause this is a mess. And it doesn't look right. It's not like I think that he hit it intentionally and he didn't worry about the physics of it. But it's one of the reasons that I didn't go to college, is because I didn't want to be carrying around this massive amount of debt, um, that would lock me into something that I didn't necessarily want to do. Right now, I'm sure that if you talked to my mom, she would remind you and me that I did have a full ride to go to school, um, to go to college. At first, when I first got out of high school, it was to the university that was in the town that we grew up in, um, and so that was one issue for me. Is that, I mean, it was a small. It's not a small university. I'm trying not to like disparage it at all, but I was very interested in improvising, and the art of improvisation. And at that time, it was still so, it hadn't spread so much, that I was going to get the degree and learn a bunch of stuff that I wasn't super interested in, and then um, get to go. Obviously, retrospectively, I probably should have gotten like a business degree, because business is everything. Knowing how to do business is everything. But I was a dumb kid and didn't do it, so I instead pursued the art. that I was interested in. Um, I do not regret that at all. I do regret missing out on a free education. So, you know, uh, uh, you say tomato and I say tomato because that's how you say tomato, right? That's, your life is the choices that you make, and there's no going back. Once you made your choices. Um, that looks slightly better. Let me fill this in, and we'll say it. We'll call it a day, and then I'll just make sure that I do a close on that when I use this Luna. So, but yeah, so that's where I've gotten it. That was spiraling off of, I haven't really felt grounded and part of a community, and that is entirely my fault in a lot of ways, for the pursuit of ideas, and you know being true to myself. And this is a really tough thing, and I don't know if I would recommend it to everybody, because there are a lot more um, secure, safe ways to do this. You'll make a lot of your parents more happy if you don't do this, but um, you will be less satisfied with yourself. I guess people like me will be less satisfied with themselves if they don't. Um, and that's really, when you're true to yourself, when you only follow the path that you feel like is going to bring you the most happiness, this idea of self-care, um, you're gonna you're gonna confuse a lot of people, who aren't on board with that, and additionally, you're gonna make a lot of people mad, because um, that's people don't like that. they People have been, well, and this is the reason why, is that people have been um, told that they need to follow the status quo, and they need to do what's required of them, societally, or in families, in family structures, or things like that, culturally, that they're expected to do. And so there's a generation behind us, generally. We're surrounded by a generation of people who they forsook themselves. I didn't mean to say that as if I was all biblical, but they like gave up on their own dreams, right? Because they felt obligated to. Um, you know, People, the classic, I want to be an astronaut. No, you can't be an astronaut because, X, Y, and Z reasons. And so people internalize that, and they give up on their dreams. And so most times they're not going to want you to follow yours, and stick to your guns, on that, because they weren't allowed to, right? And there's a lot of people who, because they chose not to do that, they don't want to see other people succeed also. And so this is where you're going to make a lot of people upset. I'm pretty sure that I don't have a great relationship with my dad, because of this reason. And it's really that, because he had kids, he was obligated to not do the things that he really wanted to do. And I'm not really sure what that is, because it's so like ingrained in him now to be the thing that he's become. And so, that's when he said to me, for instance, right, you need to like do the thing that's going to like make you a success in my eyes. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to make me happy at all. Like that made he had to do it a certain way. And so because of that, he's upset. And it will do that. It will make other people unhappy, with you, because they're not going to understand what it is that you're doing. This is the reason that I think I've shared. People just around me, they're upset with how I live and what I do. Like they don't understand what it is, why to me, things don't seem to matter as much. Like the things that they hold valuable, don't seem to matter as much. Um, And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I don't. You go ahead and please pursue that. But like, I don't hold value with that. That's not going to bring me value. And so what they think that I'm saying, or what people hear me saying, is that I'm devaluing their life, their ambitions, their dreams. And what I'm actually saying is that your desires and my desires are different from each other, and we're both allowed to have those. And power to, all the power to you. Like, I'm not trying to take the thing away from you that you want. Like we're not we there are an infinite number of endpoints to reach, and yours specifically is not where I'm headed. you know and that, just because I don't want what you have doesn't mean it's not valuable. It just means that I don't value it just means I don't value it. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad that whoever you are and whatever you're doing is the thing. But I hope that whatever it is that you're trying to achieve is for your own purposes, and is to make you happy. Because if you're doing it because you're trying to get it before somebody else, right? You're gonna be unhappy with that. It's just proven. You can look at any celebrity case. I was mentioning, I don't know, a few, like maybe last week. I was talking about Jim Carrey and how I'm really happy for him where he's ended up, because there was a time in his career where it seemed like he just wanted to have what everyone else had, and once he got that, he just seemed so unhappy with it. You know, and he wanted, but then he's come to this place that he really seems to have found joy in doing the things that he enjoys doing, being the silly guy that he is. Like he has come back to that, where he didn't have that. He was finding joy in comparison, right? And comparison is the thief of joy, right? It's the thing that's going to take even your accomplishments, and then you'll see that, even if you achieved it, somebody always has something else that you don't have. Always, it's always going to be the case. And I think that's why I do upset a lot of people, is because for me, I reach and I grab things that only I can see, that are only valuable to me. And it really confounds the people as to why I don't hold the idea of, whatever it is that they want. um, and in this way, like, I feel like there's no competition, right? There is no competition between you and your dreams and me and my dreams, because in this way, we're not actually seeking the same goals at all. We're not, like, I don't have. There's a role. There's a perfect role for me to fulfill in this world, that only I can do, right? Because of my unique features, place in history, and time. And that is different than the. Okay. And that's different than the things that you're going to achieve. And again, I want you to achieve all the things that you're going to achieve, for your own sake, so that you can be happy. You can be happy with yourself. And and then you don't have to be afraid that I'm going to take that from you, because ultimately, when you're happy with yourself, no one no one can take that from you. um, well, now that is different than what I was trying to do. And so, self-care is very important. Self-care means understanding who you are, understanding what you want, um, and uniquely applying you to this life, so that you can be satisfied with the conclusion that you arrive at, whether that's making blockbuster films, or being just a recognized face on television, um, whatever those those are, or being a parent, or giving yourself time to tinker in your garage, or whatever. Um, it's different for everybody, and that's kind of like it breaks the myth, right? Like the myth is that there is one goal that everybody wants, and that's to be rich and to have plenty of stuff, you know, um, and you know everybody, they're told that that's what the goal is. And I think a lot of people believe that, which is fine. And for some people, that is the case. That they do really want that. A Taurus, the Taurus is in the crowd. That's what you want, and that's fine to want that. Um, you know the wow, words. You want to use them? You want to use them for me? uh, the Pisceans, they want to be loved, um, and the Virgos, they want to be right. Um, so you can hate on me in the comments if you want. That's some of that's a jest. Um, but but it's always going to be different. It's always going to be different for everybody. So yes, Taurus, please get all the stuff that's going to make you happy, and Leos, get all the admiration that you can possibly get. Please, absolutely, please do that. um, and achieve that in all the ways that you can. You will, but the way that you're going to do that is never. I know it feels like, oh Lord, I am so sorry to be overwhelmed by that. I know that it feels like that. There you have to do it in spite of other people, and I know that especially Leos and Tauruses, you want to win over other people, because that's kind of, and Virgos too, I believe, have that tendency to be that way. But like, you don't have to. There's a specific place that only you can fill. Um, in the world, and it never has anything to do with anybody else. It's always just a competition with yourself. For me as a Gemini, it's always just this world of ideas, and so I'm not trying to have the idea before anybody else, or against anybody else. It's just that I believe that there's a specific idea that that I have been allowed to have, and so I explore them, because I find them interesting. The same thing with if you're a Leo, you can get that admiration from any number of places and any number of people. If you're a Taurus, you can have a nice car, and other people can have nice cars too, or nice things too. Absolutely. And there's the thing that the type and the type that makes you happy is going to be specific to you, and that's what self-care is really all about, is finding the thing that specifically makes you happy, and removing this idea of needing it to be the thing that somebody else has or wants or does, because it's always going to be unique. No two people throughout history have been identically the same, because of time and space for one, but also we're very complex beings. We have different cultures that we come from. We have different upbringings. We have different friend groups, and you know, um, I know that in some cultures, status is everything, right? But the type of status is going to make a difference to whether or not that's satisfying to you. You can achieve. Oh gosh, guys, I've been up since 4:30. I am so sorry. The sun's going down. I'm coming into, like, generally I go to bed around 8 o'clock. And so here I am being like, oh, so tired. But yeah, I think that you'll find that to be true too. I think that you'll find that um, when you reach a goal that is not your goal, you'll be very unsatisfied with it. And I will tell you, as a person who has reached goals that I thought that I wanted, and then I got there and I was like, it wasn't. It's not what I want at all, actually. Um, you know, that's what you're going to end up with. And if you're in that place where you're like, oh yeah, this is not unsatisfying. I feel like I'm completely, er, man, all these shoes are the same shoes. Um, okay. I thought, isn't there? No, we don't have any shots with her shoes. Oh, maybe in the next shot. Um, so, and that's okay. I mean, that's part of, like, like I was saying, like I couldn't tell you what I wanted. When I was first looking. Um, as I was going along. And I couldn't tell you now where exactly I'm supposed to be ending up, although I'm pretty sure I'm going to find out soon, so I'm pretty excited about that. Um, that, well, what the heck? Um, what do I... But I know that it's going to be something uniquely me, and something that has specifically to do with um, what I enjoy, and she's barefoot in this shot. He didn't even draw shoes on her in this shot. Guys, if you want to see what is coming up in a sequence that we're trying to fund, y'all just know that go to coxinspace.com, click on Join the Crew on the bottom there, and that will help us continue to fund the making of this. We are looking for illustrators. To pay illustrators to work on it, and animators, and we would love to do that with funding. You see that here, like right here, uh, Jack's inconsistency with the character art. It shows through here. This is definitely more of a sketch. These guys kind of look like Peter and Richard. They have a lot of similarities, but again, his character work is pretty inconsistent. And so, love Jack for doing the work that he's done. I love his style, for sure. And we would like to, to hire a team that we can get like more consistent work from, and then of course an animator or animation team to be able to actually work on these things, instead of the process that I'm doing, which is cutting and slicing and whatnot, to do it. So. But yeah, I mean that's the two bits from a person who is not a success anywhere yet. So take that for what you will. I will say that uh, I might not be happy all the time, but I am pretty satisfied with who I've become. So, and that in a lot of ways, yeah, it might sound like an absolute contradiction to you, because you're like, but you're not a success, but you're saying that you're still striving for your goals and you haven't reached it yet. Like, how can you be content with who you are? Um, and it's because I've been pursuing that. What to me is the inner person of who I am, over everything else. And that she's wearing high heels. How do I know she's wearing high heels? Do we have a drawing of her? And that to me is the thing that will be the difference between, huh? Now there's a character drawing of Luna that's not included here. Huh? That's weird. I wonder where that ended up. Yeah, that's wild. Um, Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so it's definitely missing. Turn this down just a hair. Now that that and the pursuit of one's own person and that's sort of an immeasurable success, I suppose. And so I'm not sure how much you could be like, yeah, I buy into that. Um, but the people that I admire also, and there's a number of them who I know who are in Chicago. Susan Messing is a great example of a person who is a longtime improviser, very talented, very funny, who has never she as far as I can tell, she's only been in one movie, which was directed by Mick Napier. Mick Napier is another good example um, of artists who pursued their what it meant to them to be and who they were as people, and they have not achieved the success that you would say is success. Uh, Susan Messing, again, if you don't know her, you haven't been in the the close knit circle of improv. Um, that you don't know her. It means that she's a cornerstone of the Chicago improv scene. If you want to list the top improvisers in the world, it's going to include Susan Messing, um, and she is a delight to watch on stage. She is a fantastic teacher. She's an amazing person to just hear her philosophy on the world, uh, and is somebody who's not widely known by everybody. She should have been cast, and she should have been a rising star. She should be in a whole bunch of movies. There's an alternate timeline where Susan Messing is on a bunch of sitcoms and on in a bunch of films, and has bodyguards, and she's inaccessible to anybody. And fortunately for those of us who have gotten to train under her, and to hear her philosophy and get to spend time with her, that didn't happen because fortunately for us, we got to spend time with her instead. But she pursued what was important to her above other things. And I will tell you, and I will guarantee that she will tell you that she is satisfied with her life, because she has done the things um, that she valued, and that to her made her who she is. And so those are the people that I look at where I'm like, you know, um, like maybe I'm not successful in the way that you would measure success, but there's something about knowing yourself, and loving yourself, um, and and being who you are supposed to be, for yourself. And that's a tough call. That's a hard thing that you have to like find over time. Is who it is that is most satisfying to the inner you, the one that is not the one that you see in the mirror, but the one is the character that you are when nobody's looking. That's the one that revealing that to the world is what self-care is all about. Is discovering to you what is a success, and what you value, and what you want to be, and what you want to become. Uh, and Susan, fortunately for us, like I said, she was the we got to learn from her she trained with Delclos and learned from him. She came up with McNapier of the Annoyance Theater, um, and works closely with him as well, and had great influence on each other, obviously, um, and so I say obviously because I think that you can see in both of them the way that they have inspired and pushed one another to the level of excellence that they are today. Um, but yeah, so to me, the brass ring again. That's not the end all be all. That's definitely what we're doing with Cox in Space. That's definitely what we want this show to be. Is to be the type of success that we can bank on, right? That we can rest in that we've done good work and that we're reaching a lot of people with the message that self-care is what it's about, right? And then at the same time, doing it in a way that we can be very that we can recognize that we have taken care of ourselves too. Like we have respect for ourselves in the way that we've done it, um, and so tricky balance because everybody does want to tell you how it's done, and nobody can tell you how it should be done except for you. And and that's not to say don't listen to other people, because lots of people have lots of really good advice about how you can unlock that and what is aesthetically pleasing, and feedback is very, very important so you can recognize what you look like to the outside world. Those are all very important things. And then at the same time, like, there's only one person who's going to be able to tell you whether or not it's good enough for you, and that's you. And so I would encourage you to do that for yourself. Guys, I hope you don't mind. I think I'm going to go for a 90-minute session today instead of a full couple hours. So I'm going to wrap up in about 20 minutes or so. Just yeah, close to a half hour, but thereabouts. Since it's been a long weekend, and that's the only statement that I can make. It's been a long weekend. Look how our leg turned out. That turned out not so bad, right? That's all right. Um, yeah, and so you can't just be like, I'm doing this for me and nobody else, and that's because that's very like indulgent, self-indulgent type of art, and not necessarily quality. And that's a tough line to walk, for sure. Um, but also, uh, what the end goal is, and whether or not something is good enough for you. That question is up to you to decide. And so I would encourage you to find the thing that is the most satisfying. I don't know why this piece is completely gone. Oh no. Oh no. I think I saved over it. I did. Last night I was tired and I saved over the set that I've been working on. Mm. And so yeah, so have all the lunas taken out of that set, but I don't have the set anymore because I saved over it. Y'all, if you remember how difficult it was to take out some of those lunas, um, and how long we spent on it. You may recall. Uh, it's been like a couple, 2, 3 episodes. So it started when the cat chewed through the cable, and we had to switch over to this one, and now the thing I have is this Luna right here. I didn't save it as PSD like I should have. I saved it as a god dang. Um, no, that's not the one. Okay, I'm gonna save this one. So, you know, you know, dang it. There's so many things. There's so many things that, um, you know what I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna focus just on this side of the stage. I wish we'd done it as a central shot instead of that side, but anyway. This is, yeah, this is the complete shot again, and I need to take out all these cats. I need to take out every single one of these and patch back in all this stuff. I got excited talking to Adam yesterday, and I completely forgot the task that I was doing. Anyway, um, yeah, yeah. Sometimes your friend here, just makes big old mistakes, as you will, and you just have to start from scratch again, guy. Uh, so I think I assumed that it was a PSD like it should have been. Yeah, and like it should have been. What? What? Hang on. No. Okay. Now PSD, of course, is the Photoshop format where it has layers in it and stuff. Um, anyway, it's not a big deal. It's just more work. The cool thing about knowing what you're doing, and okay, the cool thing about knowing about what you're doing is that you can go back if you make a mistake and just do it again, right? Everything is done with intention. And this is the big thing that, a big difference between, doing the work myself and doing the work with an artificial intelligence is that with an AI, you have to prompt it and prompt it and prompt it to try to get the result that you want, and it may or may not work. This method lets you get exactly what you want, even if you do make mistakes, you know. And then it gives me the ability to check the work and then go back over it and whatnot. Um, and so this is why the creative process is, why I definitely support it over it, is I can get what I want from this, and I'm going to get what I want from this. And at this point, it's really just putting in the things that I want to get from it, and then completing that work. But I do want to say it is kind of a drag because I was mostly done. I had done all of this work on the left-hand side, and here it is on the right-hand side. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We've had a lot of great discussions in the time that we've had, and this will just give us some more time, because we are really getting down to the last ones. And so, with the joy of animating, this show is going to come to an end here shortly, as we get to the end of what needs to be animated, for good or for ill. We'll be moving on to whatever the next portion of the project is. Actually, I can address that right now. I'm a little bit trepidatious about what that even is, uh, because, like I've mentioned to you, working on this has been kind of a nice reprieve. When I'm like, what am I gonna do? What am I even about these days? Um, with just everything that's happened recently, where I'm just like, without a community, and without, being involved with a lot of other people on projects. This has been kind of like a nice to be able to have a task to do, and I won't have a task to do now. So, um, I mean, that is what it is. We'll see what happens next. I won't run out of tasks to do. I am still working on that novel, which would be good to have more time to do that. Obviously, I can't be doing that with you on these podcasts, so that's one thing I'll be missing out on. But as it is, as it is. We'll we'll figure it out. Whatever happens next. The big hope, of course, is that with this second push of the second clip of this episode, that we will get picked up and that we will start moving towards working on a full production of Cox in Space, which would be fantastic. And that's the big hope. Uh, you know, Obviously, we don't know what the future holds, or I don't know what the future holds at this point, at this time of recording. So we just do what we can and keep working towards our goals. But yeah, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, just having something to work on like this, where like I know clearly what the steps are and what has to be done, and what you have to do to accomplish that. It is nice. When I did a lot of theater, like as a kid, and then some as a when I was in LA and stuff like that, projects in Chicago as well. When I did a lot of theater, it was the same thing. And this is what actors. I think Benedict Cumberbatch said the same thing. Um, I might be wrong if about the person who said it, but that you just you get together, you work so hard on a project, everybody comes together as a team, as a family, and then ultimately when the project's over, it's a wrap, final shot and all that cast party, you go to nothing. You become nobody. You have no significance. And it's this interesting thing that happens with creative projects. I think other careers are easier because they are more continual. But with creative projects, especially like everybody works so hard towards a goal, and then all of a sudden, you don't have a goal anymore. And so for say working actors, I'm sure that it's just like whew, what now? Might be why Nick Cage signs on to every every movie that he can these days. Besides his growing amount of debt, the collectors he has to the collections he has to pay off. Um, I kid, Nick. I don't know. Maybe you enjoy all the projects you do, um, but yeah, the yeah, I think that probably actors who have like a consistent family life, or working on like say a TV show, it does have that stability to it, more stability to it, so that you don't get left in that big like woof feeling, what now feeling. But yeah, no, I will be going through that once this is finished. So I am glad for this little setback. I realize, even though I really wish it didn't have to do all this stuff again, because this meticulous patching and whatever is kind of a pain. Not gonna lie, I will be super glad to be working, having the illustrators and animators working together to create these individual layers, so that it doesn't have to be done this way, um, because it is kind of a pain. Uh, to do all this. So I've been thinking about doing like an actor like filmography review. And the two that I'm kind of debating is because one, I love Jim Carrey. He's like um, an icon for me. I definitely look at his career. I look at his personal trajectory. I look at his type of comedy, and I really do enjoy him as a person. And so I'm thinking about doing either his filmography, obviously not the ones that he directed or anything or wrote because he's only been an actor, just the movies that he's acted in. Um, or I want to do like a Nick Cage one because I think that would be really interesting. And the big difference is I think Jim Carrey, you get a lot of like fun projects in the middle of his career, like basically once he gets out of doing the Ace Ventura Mask era. I think that the late 2000s is a really interesting time for Jim Carrey. Um, uh, and then at the end of it you get to basically it's just Sonic for the last part of his career, which is fine. I'm happy that he's happy with that. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm glad that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna semi-retire, but I'm gonna do Sonic movies and play Dr. Robotnik. Like, that's my shtick now. I am super glad that that's where Jim has landed. It's the ability to just have fun and be silly and be that super bendy guy that he loves being. But I think that the Nicolas Cage, there's like a bunch of like when he's like the action hero star or whatever, that the height of his career, is like not super interesting to me. But he's done like a lot of like really like early on he did like a bunch of like indie-ish films, like Peggy Sue Got Married, and he's in Wild at Heart, for instance, that David Lynch film. And there's a bunch of like early ones before the Con Air era of Nicolas Cage, and I think Con Air to like Knight Rider. I think that's like a section of movies that I'm like, yeah, not that interesting, to me personally. But then like in his more recent years, he does like a lot of really interesting projects for good or for bad. I've seen it kind of all over the place, and it would be fun to analyze and talk about different budgets and sets and stuff like that for that. So anyway, those are my two like thought processes. Let me know below, a comment below what you would like to see, what series you would like to see explored. I'm thinking about doing that in addition to Six Flicks with Dylan and Skip, because we do stuff on that show which I really like. I like the kind of the trajectory of random movies that we like, that we're doing, and so we're going to keep doing that. And I love, of course, reviewing films with Dylan, but I'm thinking about doing either one or the other, either solo or with Logan, because I know that Logan loves those types of films too. So Logan Gifford, one of our the co-writer and voice actor for the show. So. Yeah, so let me know, guys, below. You can comment either on a Discord or on this video below. Or, if you know me, private message me, I guess. If we're friends on any of the socials, you can always private message me. That would be kind of, I would be okay with that as well, if you if you want to do it that way. But yeah, any of those routes. Or if you have someone and you're like, dude, you should actually be checking out whoever, and I'd be like, let me take a look at that, let me take a listen. I'm always up for a suggestion. If you're saying, hey, you should be watching someone's career, yeah, I would be interested. There's a couple that like I wish that we could do, but I just don't think that they're gonna be real interesting. Like Denzel Washington is an actor who I really respect, but basically does a lot of the same characters, and a lot of the same movies, often. I mean, he's got typecast and he's working, so good on him. That's if people find that you can do a role and they keep hiring you to do that, please, if that's satisfying to you, please keep doing it. Um, that was one of the reasons that I didn't want to really go mainstream as far as like being an actor. It's because I really didn't want to end up in that. I just felt that that would never, like, doing the same character over and over again was not gonna do that for me. Same thing with Christopher Walken. Like, Christopher Walken has done some interesting roles. He was in that the Prophecy series, which I think that he, is interesting. But so much more, like, he gets called in to deliver the Christopher Walken thing, right? And so, good for him to get work, but it doesn't matter so much to us. The hell. Um, Gotcha. Um, who, it's not really giving us anything extra to talk about. Like, even, you could talk about that he's in, like, Balls of Fury, but he's Christopher Walken in Balls of Fury. You could say that he's on SNL, but he's Christopher Walken on SNL. And no shade on Christopher Walken for doing his thing. Like, absolutely, please continue to do it. But it's they're just not, the rules aren't different enough to really be discussing the nuances of the films and whatnot, in my opinion. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could be like, well, Christopher Walken's also he's done this, right? Like, you could be like, he was in Sleepy Hollow, and, like, that's interesting to be like the Headless Horseman. That's an interesting choice to be. But, like, it doesn't. It's, the reason he's in it is because it's Christopher Walken in a Tim Burton movie. That's what it is. We could explore a Johnny Depp's career because he's done some interesting things. I mean, he's I don't know if he started with it, but one of his early movies is What's Eating Gilbert Grape, with I think Kathy Bates is in that too. Maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing her with the mom. I think I'm wrong about that. But Leonardo DiCaprio is. And I think that so DiCaprio in that movie is fantastic, and Johnny Depp. But, like, later in Johnny's career, he is more samey. Um, DiCaprio actually might be an interesting one to look at. Although he did get typecast, and the only really interesting work he's doing, in my opinion, is when he works with Tarantino, and we've covered that in Tarantino's work. And he's always solid, but it shows up as DiCaprio. I mean, so he's in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He's in The Island, which is decent. But the thing that he does is the same thing. Is very similar to, say, like, Tom Hanks's work. Is that they show up as, like, somebody defined him, this type of character, as the pants character, right? Like, this character that they don't need to have a whole lot going on, because their role in the movie is to be us, right? Like, they're supposed to be the viewer, and so they're supposed to be like this one that we can see ourselves in them, and so they don't embody too much else beyond that. Now, that's not to say that he's not doing fantastic work. Wolf of Wall Street's amazing. Aviator is amazing. All the stuff he's doing with Tarantino is amazing. He always does very, very good work. But the movies themselves and the characters themselves, they're really supposed to be more of like, what if you, the viewer, were put in these circumstances, and then you get to imagine yourself being DiCaprio, doing that. And so, no problem with their work, but, like, that's a different type of actor than I'm interested in. The ones that, like, I think Jim Carrey has done really, like, interesting characters and been in interesting movies, because of his uniqueness. I think that Nick Cage has done really interesting characters and interesting movies because of his uniqueness. And DiCaprio, to me, doesn't seem to have that same uniqueness, although I do like, very excellent performer. Yeah, Tobey Maguire is a very similar one. Like, it's hard to be like, we're gonna do a Tobey Maguire, discography or filmography, because you're like, well, you're just supposed to be like the regular guy, like, you're just supposed to be like a regular guy. Same with Ryan Reynolds, you're just supposed to be a regular guy. And you can be like, well, Deadpool. I'm like, yeah, but Deadpool is like, the regular weird, the regular, like, wisecracking guy, So that is what it is. Cool. Yeah, let's end there. Let's end on that note. They're very ambiguous. Put the comments below what you would like to see, and how you would like to see that. of what you would be looking for in a review of discography review, uh, filmography review rather, uh, of a single actor. Let me know below what that is, and we will do that. Well, we will discuss doing it. Uh, if there's somebody else where you're like, dude, you've totally slept on, X actor, to do it. Um, I would like to hear that too. So let me know below. I'd love to hear from you guys, and help us out. Liking, commenting, sharing these videos. That would definitely help us. Appreciate you coming and hanging out with me as we're working on behind the scenes podcast for Cox in Space, working on the final shot for the second clip. If you want to find out what we're doing, check out coxinspace.com, coxinspace.com, and help us out by either clicking on the join the crew and join the Patreon, or just check out our first video on YouTube, share that, like and comment on that, so that it can spread across the networks. And keep your eyes open for in the next month or so. We're going to be dropping the second clip of everything all together, all the shots that you've been seeing me work on in the last couple months, so that we can get that promoted across all the socials. We do really appreciate you being here. I'm Skip Marazzi, your host and friend, and